Okay, we're doing, oops, just realized something. All right, so parallel lines and transversals, 3.1, the start of chapter 3. Not doing that today. Just look right now, the first blank that you have to fill in is this. You do not have all these pictures, so if you'll just look at what I've got up here, we're talking about parallel lines. Parallel lines are lines that do not intersect, but they are in the same plane. I have talked about some lines that do not intersect, but aren't in the same flat surface and do not look like this. They were called skew lines. You have this picture on your paper down here, but these are some other examples of skew lines. Sometimes in a box, you could kind of see how if there was a line within this box and then this line's coming out that way, it's never going to hit it. Okay? This is a really good picture of skew lines here. So skew lines are two lines that don't intersect, but they're not parallel, they're not coplanar. So they aren't parallel lines. They are some other special lines. And remember how not long ago I did my arms like this for you to try to get it when we had that vocab list? So check this little guy out. Oh, first write down parallel planes are planes that do not intersect. We're going to highlight those in just a moment on the box. So, to put in parallel planes, we're going to do some parallel lines, skew lines, and parallel lines. If you like color, I do realize that box is very dark, isn't it? The box on your paper. Oh, sorry about that. We're going to do some parallel lines. If you want to color, you can probably still see it. The shading part's going to be awkward, though. So let's pick some lines that are parallel. How about here? AD in parallel to CB. There are more lines parallel to line AD. It would be anything that is running in the same direction, like EH or FT would also be parallel to AD. An example of some skew lines. Now, skew lines are represented by a line that you got to pick a line somewhere, and then you've got to pick one that will never run into it. Okay. So an example I already have here is the back and then the long edge on the front. So to make it match that, I'm going to draw line AH or HA. And then this line right here in the front, EF, would never run into that. The box that's on your paper, can you guys tell me if the top and bottom, are they the darkest on there? They're very dark. All of them are very dark. All right. Not much I can do then, except I thought we'd highlight the top and the bottom. So if you feel like, if you can, put some color on there. For parallel planes, I'm trying to use purple. I was trying to use the same colors as the words here. But these would be your parallel planes. That's just an example, the top and the bottom. If you want to write it out, you could say plane, HAD, and plane. Whenever you're naming planes, you need to use the word plane, GBC. That might be a way to hint to yourself what you meant. So the top and the bottom, other parallel planes in the picture might have been the left and the right side, or the front and the back. What is going on? I feel like the door's never ending, opening and closing. Okay. Thank you. Now this is a representation of skew lines. Did you get both things? Maybe. What do you see as skew on the kitty? Yeah, the arms. They're going in different directions, but they are not truly intersecting. And then what do you think about the legs that look like they would be what? They look parallel, don't they? Kind of interesting representation. Oh, and it says, you're doing it well, ascewly. Actually, ascewly. They're skew lines. Okay, I know, not the best joke. But on this next page, I have something I need you to fix on your diagram. I noticed earlier that this diagram has two A's on it. You can't do that when you're naming a polygon. You cannot have a repeated letter on there, okay? A can't be in two different places on one diagram. That's not good. So for next year, I actually have whited this out, and I won't run it off like this, but I didn't want to rerun everything. Kind of waste of paper. So if you just blot that out for me, that'd be great. Think of each segment in the figure as part of a line. Which lines or planes in the figure appear to fit the description? So now I want a line parallel to AF that goes through E. So I've got to go through point E. Line AF is at the top. So I want something that's parallel to going through E. So it would have to be EJ. So that's going to be line EJ. Okay, I don't like the way that wrote. Doesn't like my highlighter writing. All right, now I want a line skew to line AF, so it can't run into it, and it has to go through E. So that would be line E, B. Okay. The next one, we got your line AF. We've already highlighted that ED was the skew line to it, and we've highlighted that EJ was the line that was parallel to it. It says we want we want to find a line perpendicular to AF. So if you were building this figure, you may not see it, but you have to make this at a right angle here. So it's going to be line AE. Perpendicular, a right angle is right there. When you make some kind of box, you put things at 90 degrees. That's the right angle. There are actually right angles in all of these edges, these corners. Because those are rectangles. Does that make sense? Those faces are rectangles going around. And then the front and the back are pentagons. So this says find a plane parallel. This is what I need you to change because they use the A twice. Please change this to not FAJ, but FJI. So I'm just going to use this back plane. Name a plane parallel to the back. Now the back plane FJI is this pentagon. So what would be parallel to that? It would have to be the face that would not run into it, and it would have to be this one. So it would have to be the plane, and you can use 3 letters. I did FJI. I'm just going to go AED. Good? Anybody still need the page? All right. We're going to name now a pair of parallel lines using this diagram. These arrows right here, that means parallel. The symbol for a parallel is 2 sort of L's sideways. I tilt them so they don't look like 2 L's. So if we name a pair of parallel lines, it's going to be line AB and line CD, which could be written line AB is parallel with the symbol to line CD. either writing it either way. If it said in symbols, named parallel lines, it would be like this. A pair of perpendicular lines. Notice the oops on here. There was supposed to be a box right there. Okay, so please add a little right angle box there, which is going to tell us that line AC is perpendicular, upside down capital T for the symbol. Line AC is perpendicular to line CD. Okay, now please look at what they're saying on the next one. Is line AB perpendicular to line BC? Are these perpendicular? Do you get a right angle right here? No. They do not intersect at a right angle. Or they don't form right angles would be a quicker way to say it. They don't form right angles. Perpendicular implies right angles. Okay, now is the new stuff for today, the new vocab. Angles formed by two lines and a transversal. The new big word right now is transversal. Turn your page, didn't you? Lexi, I have a note. He's not here. I have a note for you. Sorry. A line that intersects two or more other lines at two different points is called a transversal. Two lines in a transversal form 8 angles. Some pairs of angles have special names. This is on the front of your ISN. We are going to fill this out, and then we're going to go back into the packet. So I'm going to show you this briefly. Do not start writing on here, okay? Because I'm going to simpler, less complicated for your ISN. So just wanted to show you what this is here. This is talking about alternate interior angles. So do not copy this right now. This is just more than we actually need, all right? Alternate interior angles, angles that are on either side of the transversal on the interior. And we're going to fill in this ISN in just a moment. This looks so much more complicated. So this is alternate exteriors. The interior is between the lines and the exterior is outside the lines, and we're going to do some highlighting. We're also going to talk about corresponding angles and consecutive interior angles. So I want to make this make a lot of sense to you by the words. So let's make our own. This is, again, the first page of your interactive notebook. You may want to put your name on the front of that, and I'm going to do some coloring. The first thing I'd like to do is make sure we know where the interior and exterior are. Okay, and what is the transversal? This is your transversal. It is a line that cuts through two other lines or more. That's called the transversal. The interior are the angles, or is all the stuff between the two lines that have been cut by the transversal. So this is your interior. And I'm going to define it over here on this side box. Now that does extend forever. So if that's the interior, then outside here is the exterior. The exterior is all in blue. All right, so in the interior, that would be angles between the lines cut by the transversal. I abbreviated transversal with trans V. So in this picture, what angles are on the interior? So that would be 2, 6, 3, and 7. Exterior angles are angles outside the lines. That are cut by the transversal. I don't think I need to write that again. So let's just write the examples. Angle 1, angle 5, angle 4, and angle 8. Those are exterior angles. I guess we should have interior angles and exterior angles. Okay. Do I need to wait a second? I'm not going to change the page or anything, but I want to make sure you're listening to what I'm talking about and citing. Okay. The first type of angles I'd like us to do are called alternate interior angles. I will allow abbreviation of those words later. ALT, INT, and then angles or angle symbol. Now let's think about the wording of alternates. Alternating means switching. Alternate, you take turns, or one alternate, switch over. So in this diagram, I'd like to know where the alternate interior angles are. So they are on the interior. Let's maybe draw a picture. Let's just draw a copy of that picture right here. I think that would be the best thing to do. Not really that worried about you making these little arrows. I just like to make it like the other one. So if you're alternating on the interior, they have to switch sides of the transversal. So they switch sides of transversal on the interior. That's the definition. So if that's the definition, then what would be the alternate interior angle to angle 2 in the diagram? You're going to jump over the transversal and go down to 7. There's your example. So angle 2 and angle 7 are alternate interior. And so are, in the diagram, I'll show you the other two would be 6 and 3. So I'm going to make a color for those. I'm just going to put dots on there. So they're in the interior and they switch sides. So angle 6, my pen, oh, excuse me, I don't like what's happening there. Get rid of that. I'll just write it with a proper pen here. Angle 6 and angle, didn't write that little symbol, 3. Those are also alternate interior. Another way to depict that, you might look for the Z or a backwards Z. These would be your alternate interiors. So since we just talked about alternate interiors, there are some angles called alternate exteriors. Okay, so alternate interiors were inside the lines. Alternate exteriors are going to be outside. Yeah. Switch sides of transversal on outside. Oh, I don't like how okay, I'll just leave it abbreviated. Try and save a little space. I'm going to draw that picture again. So 1, now I'm going to jump over the transversal and go back outside to 8. Angle 1 and angle 8 are alternate exteriors. And then in your diagram, I'm going to change color so I can show you. This would be another exterior angle, and it would jump over and be down here, which are in the picture 5 and 4. Angle 5 and angle 4. So you jump over the transversal on the outside to find those alternate exteriors. Okay, tell me if you still need that, because I want to pull this page down. No? We're good? Okay, 2 more kinds of angles. The next one we're going to talk about are corresponding angles. Corresponding angles are angles in the same position. All right, so they're going to be in the same position along the 2 lines that have been cut by the transversal. So I'm going to draw my diagram again. There are a bunch of them. So for my first example, what's in the same position as angle 2? 4. Yep. Angle 2 and angle 4 are in the same position. What about, see, we got more. If I said angle 1, down it would be here at 3. Angle 5 corresponds with angle 7. Angle, I said 2 and 4, I got 6 and 8. Those are all pairs of corresponding angles. One more type for the boxes. These are going to be called consecutive, oops. Okay, I do not like my writing. Don't want you to think my word is all separated out. Consecutive interior angles. Consecutive interior angles are going to be also called same side interiors. Is another way to describe it. So if they're on the same side, what do you think they're on the same side of? On the same side of the transversal. Okay, so I'm going to draw that picture again. Last time for drawing the picture. And these angles are going to be in positions like this. So what are my angles in that position? 2 and 3? Angles 2 and 3 are on the same side of the transversal on the interior. Here's another pair. Is it 6 and 7? Angle 6 and angle 7 are also same side on the interior. Now you got some room underneath the boxes. I also would like to point out 2 other types of angles that we've talked about that you can see in our diagram. Vertical angles. Okay, let's list the vertical angles in our picture. I'd say 1 and 6, 5 and 2. Angle 5 and angle 2, those are vertical. Angle 3 and angle 8. And angle 7 and angle 4. Can somebody tell me another type of angle pair we could name that's in the diagram that we've studied? When we have some more types, what would you say about 1 and 5? Guys, you had a quiz with that. Most of you got this right. They're a what? They're okay. 1 and 5 are adjacent, but they're also a linear pair. Okay, so linear pairs, LPs. It was 1 and 5. Angles 2 and 6. Angles 3 and 7. Oops. And then there's one more horizontal linear pair. That would be 4 and 8. Now, is that the only way we can go to do a linear pair? No, because we can go that way. Angle 3 and 4 are a linear pair. So I'll start back at the top. Angle 1 and 2. I like using the word and better. I think it's clearer, but I'm not really great at making those ampersands. 5 and 6. And then 2 more, 3 and 4. So I want you to remember that these are also linear pairs, angle 7 and angle 8. So you got a bunch of definitions right there. Now let's see if we can do it. We're going back to the packet now, so everybody knows we're out of the ISN. I had some students who didn't know where the heck we were 4th hour, and I'm like, I said we're out of the packet now. We're back to the packet, not the ISN. We're in the packet for the assignment today. Okay, I do realize that you have a pair of hands at the top of your paper on the right-hand side, right? So what I'm going to do, because I don't have that drawing on here for whatever reason, I'm going to do a cruddy drawing. Well, you've got a pair of hands, right? We got some guy's thumb and then a finger. I don't know. All right, I know that's horrible. And then I'm supposed to try to mirror that, and I don't know, that looks like an ear instead of a hand. Oh well. All right, so he's got some crooked fingers. All right, so that's horrible. Anyway, you know what it is that I'm referring to. This part, just to remind, all I want you to do here is to remind yourself that's your interior between the hands. This is the interior. And then, of course, the exterior would be outside the hands. And the hands are representing lines. That's your exterior on both sides. Good enough? That's really all I wanted for that diagram. let's label the interior, exterior of the hands. Okay, so now we're here. This is your diagram. It is at the bottom of the page. So all the questions on the paper, there's quite a few of them above. Don't know how I went a little too far back there. All of that questions are referring to this diagram at the bottom. Let's highlight the transversal. It is line T. And I believe you have a blank that I don't have on here that says, what's the transversal? It says the transversal is line T. There's a blank. You have some little blank, and it says the transversal, and it's a T. A little higher up on the page than this question. Now, the interior angles inside the two lines that are not transversal would be 3, 4, 5, and 6. Angle 3, angle 4, angle 5, and angle 6. So if you would like, let's go ahead and highlight the interior. I'm going to do it light pink. And then the exterior out here. That blue. So you got the lines turned from the previous diagram. This is your interior, this is your exterior, and your exterior on the other side too. Exterior angles are the outside angles. That's going to be your 1, 2, 7, and 8. Now your picture doesn't have the hands. I just put them on here. We're going to talk about corresponding angles now. Corresponding angles mean in the same position. So again, we discussed that on the ISN. Angle 1 corresponds to angle 5. That's a pair. 2 corresponds to 6. Can you give me another pair of corresponding? What about 3? Yep, 3 and 7. Thank you. And 4 corresponds with 8. Okay, and I know I had that already, you already have some of that highlighted. Okay, now, alternate interior angles. You got your transversal, so you're kind of looking for the Z. So if you're looking for alternate interiors, you're looking for this. So that would be 3 and 6. And then the other pair, you're going backwards with the Z's. So it goes like that, and that's going to be your 5 and 4. My pen just slid, and sorry, I think we got it. Now we want them on the exterior. So they got to be outside here where you have it shaded blue if you shaded. So only angles on the exterior will be listed. And you've got to jump over the transversal. So angle 1 and 8. And the other pair, 2 is on the exterior, and it's jump over the line to 7. Angle 2 and 7. I'm hoping the words make sense. When you hear alternate, you're going to be going, popping over the transversal and moving. Consecutive interior angles, also called same side interior angles. These also have to be on the interior. So you're going to be working with 3, 4, 5, and 6. If they're on the same side, then they're on the same side of the transversal, which we had colored yellow. 3 and 5 are on the same side of the transversal on the interior. Angle 3 and angle 5, and the other pair would be 4 and 6. Making some sense, I hope? Okay, so here's the review on linear pairs shown. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. Angle 1 and angle 2 are a linear pair. So are angle 3 and angle 4. Angle 5 and 6 at the bottom are also a linear pair, and so are 7 and 8. What they failed to give us is enough lines to do all of the linear pairs. Because literally we can go vertically now. 1 and 3 are a linear pair. See, I don't make that thing very well. Angle 2 and 4. Then you can go down here, 5 and 7. And 6 and 8. Oh, wait, I went the wrong way. Yeah, no, I didn't. 6 and 8, that's right. So all of those are linear pairs. And then the verticals, 1 and 4, they are across from each other. Yep, 2 and 3. 5 and 8. And 6 and 7. I think a lot more of you are starting to pick up on your vocabulary the more and more we do with the vocabulary. Linear pairs are angles that are adjacent and form a straight line. Okay, this picture is a little confusing, so I'm going to tell you what to look at. You want to be just looking at the transversal. Sorry, did you have to turn your page? Okay. That's your transversal. The lines that are being cut by the transversal are these two, and I'm just going to ignore the fact that they cross to answer the questions. So the only area you want to be looking at, this is your interior, and this is your exterior. All right, so we got this transversal down the center here. And I want to name what kind of angles these are. So I've got corresponding angles for part A. What corresponds with angle 1? It's going to be in the same position on the other line cut by the transversal. So 1 and 3. Do we understand that? 1 and 3 in the same spot. They're not supposed to be equal in this picture. They're just in the same spot. So what's in the same spot as angle 2 along the transversal on the other line? That'd be 4. Okay? 5 corresponds to 7. So there are ones on the interior, ones on the exterior when you do these. And 6, interior, exterior to it, would be the angle that corresponds is angle 8. Angle 6 and angle 8. Next, I would like to look at what says to do alternate interiors. So they're alternating the sides of the transversal, which is that green line. So they're jumping over and switching. They're not right next to each other. So 2 and 7. And what's the other pair of alternate on the interior? 6 and 3. All right, part C says do alternate exterior. So now we got to be in the blue zone. Angle 1 and angle, jump over, way over, 1 and 8. Oh, it says 5 and 4. And then 1 and 8. And finally, consecutive on the interior. Consecutive, that means same side is another way to say it. Same side interior would be 2 and 6. And angles 3 and 7. Okay. One last thing before we go today is then you're going to be doing all the problems after this. No, not time to go. I need you. Real quick. 9 and 13. See where they are? What would the transversal be? Line Q. Okay. 5 and 14. What is the transversal? That would be the line that's making those angles that goes through two lines. So it's L. You are right. And finally, what would be the transversal to 4 and 6? And that has to be line T. Okay, you have a short amount of homework. I literally think that it would take you 10 minutes, 15 max. I need to see it tomorrow. I would like to check for it tomorrow when you get here. Then I'll take your questions on it. So have a nice evening.